Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy G-Max here, and we got another round of Dominus Gaming coming at us. Eddie, are you picking up huge feedback here?
No,
Picking up a little bit.
I was about to say I'm not picking up any feedback.
Okay, it was Richard. So yeah, that introduces Richard to the party. What's up, Richard? What's up, Eddie?
Oh, where are we?
We heading over to Bathurst, Mount Panorama. And it is time for us to really see who our best drivers are. I'm going to switch over to our practice screen in a bit. Let's get that all up and running, make sure that everything is okay there.
No, we are
I'm picking
2
up
minutes to
too much
qualify.
feedback coming out from your mic. Rich, you need to sort that out.
Alright, I'll sort that out.
Okay, so I'm just getting a bit of feedback there. Okay, so we are over, we are live, we got our cameras going. Hopefully you guys, my broadcast team, can see my camera view as well, which is kind of the goal. I'm still picking up
on
my
my
echo.
side, everything is set, ready, and
Where
can't
else
wait.
would I be picking up the echo? Okay,
Did you
I
mute
can't-
yourself in Discord?
I'm gonna just deafen everything there. Okay, so let's just make sure everything's sorted there. Okay, we've got Bruno on the screen at the minute. We'll be able to change up our camera angles in a moment and pull up our broadcasting point of view. I'm not quite sure. Eddie, it's you. It's 100% you.
That's giving feedback.
Yeah, you need to go push to talk for a little bit or something, because it's when I'm talking that it's like picking up a fuzz and then you.
Alright, let me sort that out. Give me a second.
Okay, so some technical difficulties there from my co-casters. We'll be back in a minute with them. Currently we're in practice sessions, and we are just making sure that our volumes are all okay before we go over to qualifying. So qualifying will be 15 minutes. That will begin now at 8 o'clock. Eddie is going to give the command any moment now to our drivers that we're going over to qualifying. No, Eddie, it's still making horrible sounds. So for now, let's go over to quali. Bruno, this is a bit of a shock horror. I mean, let me pull up the standings quickly so we can see where things stand at the moment. So you can see Bruno up top with 263 points, leads by quite a margin over Jason Absmeyer with 165, with Etienne Kleb in third place there with 130 points. So it's a bit of a big lead for Bruno at the moment, but things could change because he's been given a qualifying ban coming into this race due to some incidents that took place at Zandvoort. Now, that means that he will start at the back of the grid. There are currently 16 cars in the grid, or in the server at the minute. Not sure if we'll get a couple more when we go over to qualifying, but that means that he's got quite a lot of traffic to try and negate before he even gets a shot at trying to find a podium spot in this race.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see what he can do with that. It's a long race, though. He's got the time.
It is a long race. It's an hour long, so plenty of time for drivers to get themselves around. Shout out to Binti for the follow. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, of course, for another round. We're just going through a couple of sound fixes on our end to get the comms box up to scratch and standard. Currently do have my co-caster Angelus with me at the moment. But it could be anybody's race at this stage. I've not really watched any of these drivers drive here at Mount Panorama, and I'm not quite sure if. Let me just check if Eddie, can you just unmute yourself? Are you able to get this thing to qualifying session on your end? Okay, there we go.
Oh,
so we've gone over to quali. That's exactly what we needed to see. Let me just fix the broadcast overlay here. It kind of bugs out sometimes. There we go. We got that sorted out. So guys going to get themselves out on track. Let's put up some name tags on the cars. That helps the viewers follow along with drivers and who's going along. It's not quite as immersive as some of the other racing streams that are out there, but it most certainly helps some of the new guys follow the action and get to know who's who in the zoo. So we're currently going to follow Jason Absmeyer around for a little bit. I think who not better to possibly watch now that Bruno's got a qualifying ban. He's probably going to be favored for taking a pole position here today. I don't see his arch nemesis Leslie Oliphant in the service, so he's not making this race, which means that I don't think that pole position is going to be uncontested or contested, for Jason to snatch away, which is what he needs with second place in the championship. Plenty of work for him to do. Let's go on board as he goes to Skyline and begins. He's actually made use of the escape road that was added into Bathurst to just make things a little bit safer. It used to be a big gravel trap of death, but now a little escape road to just help you out. Rich, do you have much to add about Bathurst? I mean, I know it's one of your favorite circuits.
Well, it's going to be quite interesting because I know we're going into a night race, and some of those sections get horrifyingly dark like when the sun is actually truly set. So, it's going to be incredibly interesting for some of these guys with, I don't want to call them amateurs because they've shown so much improvement this season, but, a couple of these guys I think are going to get very nasty surprises on the top of this mountain, especially here in the section we see them coming through. That wall caught out so many guys in the actual race that we saw in the beginning of the year, the actual Intercontinental GT race. And as he comes down here through the mountain, it becomes even more horrifyingly dark as you come through this particular section. And then it's accelerating again with, like a 2-lane road, basically. So, yeah, that's the thing I think is going to be the most notable thing, is we could potentially see some horrifying accidents in the dark or some spectacular racing with everyone just really paying so much attention.
Yeah, no, Eddie, your thing's on continuous broadcast still. It's picking up absolutely. Okay, there we go. We might have sorted some things out. So Jason's going to start his first flying lap out around the mountain. We'll stick with him just for a little bit here, as he will be our first car out. Then we'll run through the grid order, go through all the cars that are currently in the lineup for this evening. But as we track along Jason, I mean, this is where the circuit can just make or break not just your lap time, but your car. You get absolutely super close. Ooh, shout out to Kasparov with a cheeky sub. Thanks for that, mate. I haven't seen you around here in some time. Coming to watch some GT3 racing, and appreciate your subscription. Thanks, Nelson. So Absmeyer now goes through the dipper, and it just continues to get harder and harder here at Bathurst. It doesn't get easier up until maybe the Conrod Straight, but you've got a lot of mountain to deal with before you get to that ease of access where you can just slam on the accelerator, and that's where Absmeyer's got out to now. So I'm interested to just track along and see what his first lap time is going to be here. It looked like a pretty okay lap, nothing that looked like it ruined his lap entirely. There was no big mistakes. Maybe that little jump down over... sorry, I was possibly mixing up his first out lap now with his flying lap. But yeah, let's just see how Jason does for his first time. Let's pull up the timetables on the screen as well, so we can see him go around, do a 2:02.
That's not bad, eh?
It's not bad at all.
It's not bad considering things can only get quicker from there. The tires aren't quite up to temperature. Let's go see. Corne Strauss is the next man on the board, followed up with Etienne Kleb, who snatches that time away. So 204.068 for Kleb, Strauss with a 206.198, Lawrence with a 206.657, Paolo on the board as well. So is Menard. A couple of guys going to get onto the board. So let's just run through some of the drivers here, because these lap times that are coming around now are not quite going to indicate or be of any real indication of what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 minutes. Anything can change, and of course guys are just going to get onto their pace. So we're gonna look at Corne Strauss on stream at the minute as he pilots around his Twitch Stallion Lamborghini. Not an easy car to drive, and an interesting choice. No, an interesting choice coming out from Corne. He has stuck with the choice, and for that I applaud it. It's not an easy car to drive around, and you can just see how twitchy it does get in certain parts. But right now, Strauss looking pretty comfortable with it.
I will give the Lambo this. It's one of the more exciting cars to drive in this sim. Because it's so twitchy, it keeps you awake and on your toes the whole time. And rewards you with a pretty nice drive if you beat it up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that comes with a sort of a double-edged sword, right? You've got to remember that as it twitches and twerks around and munches its way through the circuit, it just destroys tires. So in the long stints, it does become quite a handful. That gets us to a talking point, really, that the drivers do have a mandatory pit stop to do today, and they do have to change tires. So I do feel like that does favor cars like the Lexus and the Lambo that do munch through their tire sets. They don't have to worry that everybody else is going to save 30 seconds in a pit stop and extend it on a set of rubbers. So for them, it's okay that they need to go in and change tires.
On the subject of Mr. Strauss, he's also not been able to make the last 2 races, I believe.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So I'm hoping he's got a decent showing today, especially like you pointed out, using the Lambo on the mountain. It's a brave choice.
So I just wanted to jump over here to Manar, who was 4 tenths up on his lap time. Does improve, send himself up to 6th place overall. If we look at the timetables, he's going to set himself a 6.495. So at the moment, you can see quite a varying pace in the drivers that are out there at the moment. And that's what we kind of have here at Dominus. We do have a mixture of drivers, different skill sets, different expertise, and it really makes for quite a mixed grid overall. Oh, Franco Albertine, he's going to go and jump himself into 2nd place at the moment. Still 1.1 off of Jason Absmeyer's time at the top with his 202, which is yet to be improved. But good showing there from one of the Am2 race boys. Franco Albertine currently holds down 2nd position. And another Am2 race boy, Etienne Kleb, in 3rd. So currently they're stacking up this the starting grid with a 2nd and 3rd place.
Our chat is slowly but surely coming to life. Hello, Defender. Hello. Who's that? Brufro?
Yeah, that's Bruno. That's Bruno. Our man Bruno. Obviously, he's not able to set a qualifying time here, as he has to watch everybody else do qualifying. So shout out to Bruno in chat. Looking forward to his race here today. That means that our current tournament leader is going to be driving from the back of the grid. Manar with a big spin just before Skyline. Keeps it off the wall. Does he? Just a little nudge.
No,
and
Vanna Hubert is up on his best time by 0.7 of a second at the moment.
He is. Let's go jump on board with him here. He's just gone through Skyline. Going to start going downhill now.
Oh, this section is so murder if you don't know it well.
And I mean, currently in 10th place. He was up almost a second. He's dropped down to just the 10th now. So that mountain section catching Joe Burr out a little bit.
Richie,
just behind
right
him,
behind
Richards
him,
is up on his time. And he's almost finished his lap here. So currently sitting in 10th place. Let's see where his 7/10 put him. So in 10th, and he is going to... Did he stay?
Stay in 10th.
He stayed in 10th.
Oh,
Okay,
he knocked Vanna down to 11th.
He knocked Vanna down to 11th. Hendricks
Vanna is still up on his own lap time, though. He's just coming through to the final corner now.
And this
think
will...
he may have...
This won't be enough. This won't be enough for him to take... This won't be
No,
enough.
it won't be enough. It'll bring him close, though.
Yeah, it won't be enough for him to take a...
Oh, it's going to be just... It's
Franco
100th
Albertine,
off.
He's
But
up
10th.
on his... Franco Albertine, he's up on his lap time. He's currently in 2nd place on the grid. He needs to find 1.1 seconds. Currently only up a 10th. But of course, it's all about improvement and grinding those times, because in the race, you need to have the pace to extend that stint through the full duration, which is an hour. We're obviously going over to a night race tonight. We're going to start in the sunset, and then things are going to get dark. So let's take the hardest circuit on the lineup and make it harder by making it nighttime. And that's pretty much what our round 7 is tonight. And I couldn't be more excited.
Coming out of the mountain is 1.5 seconds up on his lap.
Yeah, I see where he is now. There's usually lamps and light at the top of the mountain. Like I said, it gets horrifyingly dark.
And I mean, this circuit here, or this corner that Butz is coming up to now, this fast right-hander, is the fastest corner that you get to in this like GT3 racing. I think you go through there at almost 270 k's an hour. It's done
Racing out
completely
chase.
flat. Yeah, before you get onto the brakes hard for a good 3 seconds to slow yourself down to start it all again before you go around again. It's absolutely insane. So Buerta does better his time, goes up to 3rd place. That's a brilliant
204 dead.
204 dead. Brilliant lap coming out from Stark Buerta. And
Next up,
he
we've got
knocks-
DeVet also on a flyer at the moment.
Okay, let's see what DeVet's doing. Oh, he's coming into traffic as well. He's got Joe Burr, who's getting blue flag to get out the way. Joe Burr couldn't go anywhere, gets almost lunged off there. Didn't want to ruin DeVet's lap time, but has impacted it quite severely. He's lost that big delta that he had, and really needs to now find 3/10 to even be dead on with his
Christos
previous
Basson is
best
also
time.
about to jump up a little bit. He's currently 1.5 up on his best coming through the final corner. So he should jump. Oh,
to
into
second place. Yeah,
Two-
Basson,
Nice,
Eight.
very nice.
Basson has been lapping around, not managing to find a solid lap. And what a lap to set. Goes and does a 2:02.865. So just
AK Minar on a flyer as well.
hundredths off of Jason's time. Minar, let's go see what he's doing in that beautiful Porsche. Every time we go and have a look at him, he gets absolutely murdered. And that will be the end of the rear aero for that Porsche. And just showing how bad it can go here at Bathurst. We've seen some cars fly through there, and now we've seen how bad it can go. It
We've
is
got
going to be a
Jason
tough race.
Sorry, man. Jason Absmeyer, big up on his time here coming down the mountain. He's absolutely paddling it. So we could see him opening up a little bit more, make it a bit harder for guys. Ooh, that's not going to help. Little touch with the wall coming through there.
Oh, and it's gone bad. And
Gone
there
very
we
bad.
can see it. It doesn't just happen to some drivers, it happens to some of our best as well. The mountain doesn't forgive, doesn't forget, and it
Not a
doesn't
friendly
care. It doesn't care what reputation you bring in. You have to respect it, and if you don't, you will be punished. Let's look at Malorto, currently the only man out on the circuit that is currently up on his lap time. Finds himself in 10th position at the moment. Is up 2/10 on his previous best. And obviously the other Kaike Racing Porsche, you can notice them by their beautiful Tutti Frutti styled colors. Rascals, Nicki Minaj cars, I've heard them called all types, but most certainly stick out on the circuit and easy to recognize.
I love the paint scheme on their cars though.
Yeah, I'm quite partial to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could not complain about it, and it looks pretty beautiful. If I was to say anything more, I think I would sound a little bit biased, but a Porsche in bright colors, it feels like I'm a little bit sold, kind of lives up to me. And Malorto, he's finding some rhythm in this Porsche right
he's
now, up
0.7
7/10
up.
on his time as he comes through the exit before the Conrad Straight. And this is where you can just wind that Porsche, get into that 6th whiner gear, and just let it go all the way up. Let's go see what speed he's currently doing.
Stefan de Vet could be doing something quite spectacular with his lap time here. He's 1 point. Oh, that's not going to help him touching the grass there. Does, though, jump him up 2 points. He's up into 6th.
So Malorto has now found himself 1.3 seconds up. Doesn't want to invalidate it. Lost a little bit of time, but still 9/10 up at the minute. He's just got Hull's corner to go. No, sorry, not Hull's corner. What is the second last corner? Hull's corner is the last corner, or the first corner after the grid starts. So
It's
Malorto
Murray's
jumps up to
corner.
8th.
Murray's corner.
Murray's corner, that's the one, and now he's coming down to Hull's to start another lap. But jumps
Just
himself up
behind
to
him,
8th
Nur
place.
Hendricks.
Yeah, let's go see him. 1.7 seconds up on his time. Sits in 12th at the moment. A 207.5, his best time to beat. It looks like he's invalidated this time, and that's possibly why he's so far up. I don't think this is a valid lap time for Noah Hendricks. at the moment.
Because that would have been his last qualifying chance. I mean, we've just run out of qualifying time.
Yeah, they have run out of time. Malorto is still out. He can finish his lap. He's a 10th up. His teammate Menard's also up on his time, 2 tenths up. They currently find themselves 8th and 9th on the grid. To find, they need a little bit of time to get up to Corne Strauss's level. Menard, he's going to abort that lap. Again, struggling on the exit just before
Ray
Skyline.
Ritchie, he's half a second up coming down the final straight towards the chase.
There we go. Let's go and see Gray Ritchie. Let's join him for a little bit of an onboard. This is where you slam the brakes. So just sit on the brakes, hope that the car slows down enough, and it does. Gray Ritchie, 5 tenths up on his previous best. This potentially could jump him to split Menard and... he's gone wide. He's invalidated it, and he's messed it up right at the end. Gray Ritchie under pressure.
Danny Bad
for Senna
also
Racing.
coming down to the chase, 0.8 of a second up on his time. This could jump him to 11th.
Let's jump on board with Vanna and see if he can put it together properly for a last little dive. 1.1 seconds up on his time as he comes into this final corner. The accelerator, and where does he jump himself up to 12th position for Joe Berg? Great qualifying lap coming in at the nick of time.
I think only Viv Richards is out on track, but he's not up on his own time. And that should be the last of the qualifiers.
I think you are right with that.
It is.
Let me try and pull up a timetable here. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna go over to the grid. It's great. Okay, can drive there. Go back to our camera sets.
There we can see
nice
Mr. Passon getting his drive-through penalty for that carried over from, when was it, Suzuka?
Interesting.
So let's just do a little rundown of our grid here. So Absmeyer, Albertine on the front row, Besson and Kleb on the second row, Buerta and De Wet on the third row, Strauss, Malorto, fourth row, Minard, Lawrence, fifth row, Ritchie, Jobert, sixth row, Hendricks, Richard, seventh row, Paolo, Cadhill, eighth row. So it's going to be a great raid start. Cadhill, of course, starting at the back here. Not where we would expect to find him. And not where I think he would expect to find himself. But unfortunately, that qualifying ban going to start him from the back of the grid. And we are pretty much ready to go in the next 53 seconds here at Bathurst. I think we can take off our driver names here for a little bit. There we go. Just get a nice clean view of the drivers. We can also just go and get a nice just get rid of the HUD there, as we can just have a look see at the grid. So obviously starting here, sunset, which is about, I think sunset actually happens at 8:30. We start the race now at 8 p.m. There's a 2 times time multiplier, so we will get over to some darkness for racing conditions during this 1 hour race, and that's where I expect things to really get interesting.
Yeah,
so 10 seconds to go for our drivers here to start their formation lap, of course following the in-game Kunos race formation settings.
It looks like there are 2 people not ready up, was Malotto and Paolo. So they'll be starting from the pits this time.
Yeah, so I'm going to pull up driver names just so that we can track along and follow drivers. Obviously, helps out our viewers at home. They enjoy to see who's battling with who. And the drivers will be going out, forming up in single file at this point. Let's go and get on board here with Jason Absmai. He's going to lead us away. Let's go see a little onboard from Corne Strauss, a little bit down the field, starting in 7th, weaving and warming up those Lamborghini tires. This formation lap, of course, just there to make sure that everybody starts fairly. Everybody starts how you should be starting your GT3 rolling starts, which is nose to bumper. Everybody in double formation. And right now, single formation as they go through and just warm up the tires.
So a little interesting one. These guys are going to start the race further back down the straight than they started it. There's a different start and finishing point to this straight. So to allow for all the grid positions, the race starts further down the straight, and the checkered flag point is then quite close after Murray's corner. So I expect to see quite an interesting start once they round that last bend.
I just want to give a subtle shout out to the programmer that made the helicopter view in this game. It is amazing.
Yeah, it's great, eh?
Yeah, let's just go over to that heli view a little bit. Nice way to follow the pack. Nice way to kind of see what's happening. Get a view at Jason Absmeyer here. He's obviously slowing things down again to try and bunch everybody back up. They've got a couple of corners left to go before they are going to start things off. They're only kind of going through, going to start going down the mountain now. And
this is Skyline, yes?
Yeah, this is Skyline that Jason's going through. And
such a tricky corner.
It's I mean it just drops away. It's so it's named just perfectly right. It's going to see a little rear wing view here of the pack following Jason down the hill. Let's take off their nameplates there. Oh, someone been disconnected in the grid order there. I saw a car just kind of float off into
the nether realm
distance, and I think that might have been Novak. Christas Besson, is he disconnected? I don't see him.
It looks like he might be, yeah.
But I think that Novak has had a disconnect error there or something. I just saw him kind of disappear into the abyss. The pity, he had a great qualifying coming out.
He did have that drive-through that he had to serve, unfortunately. We'll see, maybe he manages to rejoin. I can only hope, I guess.
So Milorto's still in the pits, Vivian Richards in the pits, and Paulo all sitting in the pits as our leaders come down the end of Conrad Strait. The only time they'll be going through this part of the section so calmly and slowly, really.
This little kink in Conrad Strait, like you go through it flat out, and just as you start congratulating yourself for not sliding the car, you have to jump on the brakes. It's relentless.
You also really have to applaud. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. No, you go ahead.
No, the programmer who did this formation lap setting is also it's fantastic. It really is just so fantastic to experience these formation laps and how the game keeps you together and in line and all that.
Yeah, final corner, gents.
Final corner before the race is about to begin for Bathurst. Round 7 for Dominus Gaming's ACC World Challenge. Plenty of rounds to go. Jason Absmeyer holds down pole position to lead things away. Any moment now, we'll be going live. Green light is go. We are live and away. Let's pull up driver names as we go into T1. Big dives happening towards the back of the pack. Nope, nothing happening. Everybody keeping things nice and calm, cool and collected. Jason Absmeyer, a great start there to hold off Albertine in second place. This is obviously just the start of the race. We see our couple of drivers exiting the pits as they had jumped back there and not readied things up. Up at the front, it will be Absmeyer, Albertine, Kleb, Buerta, De Wet. Oh, this is this train starting to form up. De Wet, Strauss, Lawrence. They're going to start to fight coming up the mountain. Richie's entering into that battle as well. He's made a big jump up the order. He's found himself in 8th position at the moment. He's taken positions off Minar. And Richie for Senna Racing really getting the go here early at Bathurst. Jason Absmeyer up front, not having too much to fight with. Doesn't have to defend against Albertine, and that's the start that he wants here at Bathurst. And really just needs to get into rhythm and not have any of these on-track battles.
So Bruno Cadil, from starting dead last, technically, has managed to get himself up into 11th already. So he made a monster of a start.
Yeah, no, he had an incredible start. Watching him from the back, he just slowly carved everyone up who just left him just a bit of space. It was...
Got
And
Vanity
here
Barr in
we'll-
front of him now.
Yeah, here we'll follow along with him. He's got Jobert in his slip. So he's in Jobert's slip, so he's going to try and capitalize off that. He's going to try and make a move early, it looks like. Going to go alongside before the fast double right-hander. Jobert aware of that. Is he going to give him the room? They go side by side. Jobert, good clean racing from both drivers. Cadiel finds another position and continues to fight his way through the order. Meanwhile, what is happening towards the front of the pack? It looks like our three leaders, Absmeyer, Albertine, and Kleb, have kind of spaced themselves out. Then we've got Buerta, who's found himself in a bit of clean air. But after that, it's just a train of cars. We've got De Wet, Strauss, Ritchie, Lawrence, Menard, and Cadiel, all within a second of one another.
No, this is now where Cadiel's really going to have to show his driving prowess as he takes another position off Menard. I mean, he's got the entire train to pass ahead of him, all while his championship rival is slightly running away at the front, now sitting with almost a second gap. He's lost a little bit of time coming up the mountain.
Oh, Strauss and Ritchie, those two are starting to have a little bit of a battle themselves. Ritchie going to go on the inside of Strauss. Now got a little bit of a run, going to be on the outside. Lawrence taps the wall on camera. Strauss and Ritchie side by side. A little bit of contact. It looks like Strauss has managed to save it. He's lost a little bit of position there. He's lost a couple of places, and that's the train of racing, and that's what can happen. But Strauss, he's managed to keep it on the track. Brilliant bit of race driving from Strauss after making contact. Ritchie, he slammed it into the wall just before Skyline, and that's going to afford more position. Strauss going to go for a move on the inside of Menard there. Menard getting kind of forced off of the road, nowhere to go, and it's a little bit of tight racing coming out here. Hendricks, he's having some trouble there at the back as well. Cadiel, he's got himself out of danger. He's in 9th position, trying to make a move
up
onto
to
Lawrence. Oh, is it into 7th?
This
Yeah,
is going
is.
for
This
6th
is for
position.
6th. Sorry.
Yeah, Bruno was the big winner through all of that argy-bargy over the mountain.
Correct. So Cadiel, big winner up into 6th place. I mean, 4 minutes into the race, from last place into 6th. This is Bruno Cadiel, and this is him coming to party. So Lawrence tries to get the move done again, tries to fight back around the outside, but Cadiel with a more advantageous inside line, going to get the run away. And Strauss now, he's under attack again from Ritchie, who looks like he's piloting around a very, very damaged Porsche. We saw him come into contact with the wall, and of course that's not going to benefit anything in these long straight sections, but still trying to have a look towards where he can find a move on Strauss. Menard, he's going to be tucked up tight behind them as well. Let's do a full rundown of the order as it stands. So first place, Jason Absmeyer. Second, we've got Franco Albertine. Third place, Etienne Kleb. Fourth place, Stark Buerta. Fifth place, Stefan de Wet. Sixth place, Bruno Cadiel. Seventh place, Sean Lawrence. Eighth place, Corne Strauss. Ninth, Ray Ritchie. 10th, J.K. Menard. 11th, Werner Jabert. Noah Hendricks in 12th. Vivian Richards in 13th. 14th, Tebo Maloto after a terrible start being sent to the pits. And Thiago Paulo in 15th. Both of them lacking a little bit behind, all starting from the pits. But Maloto, he's starting to fight his way back through things. Unfortunately, will be a lap behind. So he's going to unlap himself before he goes and really catches up to any places that he can take positions off of.
Bruno Cadiel has reeled in his next victim. He's right. I think he just shot past the vet. Yep. So Bruno into 5th. Made quick work of getting past the vet through the mountain.
It feels
there
like
wasn't really much
time,
of a fight.
Every time we don't watch this man, Bruno Cadiel, it feels like he goes and gets another move done. So finds himself currently in 5th place in his Silverback Racing Mercedes, and an absolute great bit of driving to make his way through the order. And what a difficult track to really go and have to do that on as well. So Bruno, a great bit of driving. He's got Stark Buerta up ahead of him and in sight. And
just
we
in
know
that
Bruno,
straight, Bruno took half a second out of Stark.
and Stark's made a big mistake on the exit there. Bruno's had a great exit. And I feel like this 4th position is going to be Cadhill's shortly. Buerta will feel the pressure. Cadhill getting another good exit out of Hull's corner there before they get onto the mountain straight. Cadhill will have the slipstream advantage and going to pull out early to try and stretch the legs of that Mercedes. Going to go alongside and secure the inside line before the next left-hander, and that will be the move done. Buerta, will he try and cut back? I don't think he's got the run to do so, and another solid bit of driving done by Bruno Cadhill.
That brings him up into 4th place. He's got, what is that, about 7 seconds between him and 3rd place Kleb. We'll have to wait and see how long it takes him to break 7 seconds.
Yeah, so I just want to go and have
Richie
another look
also
at Jason Absmeyer quickly, just because obviously what will happen after this is once Cadhill finds his next victim, he's obviously hunting down for this #1 spot. He is the favorite to win when it comes to, if you look at his record, a really, really consistent driver. But Absmeyer at the moment doing a good job to just get some of that distance that he needs to get between them. He would have liked more of a battle to
second place.
Yeah, he would have liked to. You see Cadhill on the start of the Conrad Straight in the background of Absmeyer's cam as he comes around that right-hander. So not too far down the field is Cadhill already. 7.3 seconds according to the timing sheets. But that could all change, any sort of incident or mistake, and that could all change up. So let's go and see where we've got any other fights in the mid-pack. Currently, it looks like Corne Strauss, and would this be...
That's Molotto behind him there.
Yeah, I think Molotto is trying to obviously come... Oh, Strauss, he's made a bit of a mistake, and that's going to allow Molotto through.
Again.
But yeah, the Lamborghini fights back. Molotto is going to get through. He needs to try and unlap himself, of course. And you can see he's running with pretty good pace. I mean, if he's just taken Strauss, who is in theoretically 9th place, he's now approaching Manar in 8th. Molotto's doing a great job considering he's had to make his way through the order and try and get past these guys before he gets around. So it looks like Strauss is disconnected as well. I saw in the background his car floating off into the distance. I don't think he's still with us. I think Strauss has had a disconnect. And that's unfortunate. It brings our grid size down. That would now be to 14 runners. So Richie, the first of the drivers to be lapped by Jason Absmeyer here. Richie, of course, having done his pit stop already, I feel like he had picked up big damage.
Ray Richie just had a big spin coming over the mountain.
Yeah, he's back in the pits.
Yeah, I think he had to jump back. There were a lot of cars coming down. He was going to impact the line of racing, and I think he made the call there. He's had an incident coming down before. He repaired the car, and it feels like as the track gets darker, it becomes absolutely more treacherous, and anything can really happen. So we can take off.
If we jump to Molotto quickly, there's a beautiful shot for you, George. Two Porsches running line astern pretty much, as Molotto's trying to unlap himself there.
Let's take off the overlays. Let's get it a little bit cleaner and get a couple of beautiful Porsche shots coming down the end of the Conrad Straight as we track along with Molotto. He has got past his teammate JK Manar, that number 96. Will be getting flash blue flags at the moment because the game thinks that he's due to be lapped. But if we look at his lap times, he's just done his last lap time was a 206.2. He's 2/10 up on that time now. So this could be a 206 flat. Everybody in front of him is currently running 208. So Molotto, although indicating position 12, a little bit off the tower, you shouldn't be there. It was just a failure to ready up at the start. So great pace coming out from Molotto as he continues to grind around. And that will be his personal best time, a 205.7. So Molotto finding 3/10 at the end of it all, and a great bit of driving.
So it seems that Bruno Cadhill has managed to pass Etienne Kleb.
I also just got to that and saw it must have happened.
Yeah,
let me jump back
just
here.
Happened.
Yeah, he took him on the main straight going into T1. Oh, technically T2, I guess.
Yeah.
Griffin's been.
Having a little bit of trouble coming up the mountain, having a bit of a touch on one of the walls. It slowed him down considerably for this top end.
Yeah,
That's
Bruno.
Cadil in third place after what? Not even 20 minutes of racing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it was bound to happen with a grid that has such a mixture of driver speeds in it. But you cannot discount how incredible it is to find space on a track so narrow, so treacherous, and obviously now filled with other cars. So a great bit of driving coming out from Cadhill, showing why he is currently our championship leader by a considerable margin. And a really great drive overall coming out from him so far. So good to see that he hasn't let the drive-through penalty, the qualifying ban get to him, has come out, put down his head, and proven that it doesn't really matter, he doesn't really mind if he's not allowed to qualify. He was going to fight his way back anyway, and that was kind of always going to be a thing, even if he had picked up a drive-through penalty. He's got that pace and that just sheer talent to make his way back up into a fighting sort of position, especially in an hour-long race.
Etienne.
There you go for it, Richard.
Yeah, Etienne Kleb in the pit seems like he's chosen to come in and fix some of the damage he picked up that touch earlier on the wall.
Yeah, I saw him also just making some contact there. So obviously you're going to dive in pretty early for a regular pit stop. Yeah. So if you can just keep an eye on him, see if he's there for more than 30 seconds, we'll know if he's taking damage or he's just doing tires. I think he did pick up some damage, but the real star of the show at the moment must be Jason Absmeyer. He's amassed a 6.8 second lead over Franco Albertine in second, and right now just doing great things. His last lap time was his best lap time as well, so just to show that he hasn't set a great lap and then sort of ducked off. It's becoming hella dark, and you can just see how dark it does become on this mountain section, and his previous lap was a 202.793. So absolute flying lap coming out from Absmeyer in the dark.
Absmeyer's going to have to pick up the pace though, because Cadill's best time is at 202.2. And that was also his last lap, so he's 5/10 up on Absmeyer while Absmeyer is setting blistering times.
Yeah, so not to discount it, I mean he's another 2/10 up on that time now. So he's looking to do a 202 flat if everything goes the way that he plans out for it. I mean, he's already caught up to Franco Albertine, who is now going to be defending already against a very, very aggressive Bruno Cadhill, who's looking to get the work done. Does go for a little bit of a fake inside line just to let him know, like, hey, mates, I'm here in your mirrors. And Albertine now going to have the biggest fight so far on his hands. Bruno going to go on the inside. Going to have to get on the brakes. I don't think they did touch there. The camera angle changed. There was no contact. Bruno pulls out.
That Mercedes is just going to run away now.
Yeah, that Aston Martin has nothing on the Mercedes in the straights. And Bruno doesn't even really need the slipstream. You just see him pulling away here. And Albertine, yeah, he's going to have to tuck back in. And that will be second.
Bruno left a lot of space there.
He's gone very wide.
Back through into second.
They're going to go side by side as they go up the mountain. Bruno going to be marginally behind, which means that Albertine is going to be afforded a little bit more of that privilege of holding down second place for now. That Mercedes in the straights, that's where you're going to have to watch out for it. And of course, through here, there's just absolutely nowhere to get by if you hold your line. So for now, Albertine will defend on Cadhill. It's a very, very dark Bathurst. Lights are glinting, and they're going to go through Skyline and start the descent now. Albertine going to go through the dipper, and you see how close they get to that inside wall. It's pretty much just walls and walls and walls, a little bit of tarmac and more walls as they go on the descent. Bruno Cadhill going to want a great exit out of Forest Elbow so that they can get the run down Conrad Straight, and Albertine not going to allow any space to Cadiel. They're going to go side by side once again. Albertine going to be on the outside. Cadiel will secure the inside line. They're going through the fast right-hander. Space has been given. Albertine going to try and change the line up. But right now, Cadiel's got this move done. But the fight from Albertine will be here. He will be trying to take this position back. And it is not over till it's over. Any mistakes in these last couple of corners, and that can compromise your run up the mountain straight again. But for now, Cadiel will have got second place in the bag. Great bit of driving coming out from Cadiel.
So that now leaves them with a 11-second gap to Jason Absmeyer. And lap times wise, the last two haven't been all that on fire. So yeah, he's got his work cut out, but no one to obstruct him. 11 seconds to make up. There's no lap cars between him and Jason at this moment. So buckle down and get it done time now.
Yeah, so this is going to really be the challenge that Bruno will have tasked for today. Yes, making his way from the back of the grid up into second has been great, but it would have been expected from a driver of this caliber. Now, he's going to be tested against someone who has given him a run for his money. They have battled hard before, and currently it will be Absmeyer leading, Cadiel following. Cadiel has a lot of work to do. Like you said, 11 seconds to make up, but keep a look. Oh, Cadiel making some contact and making a mistake on the descent. Going to cost himself some time. That's going to allow Albertine to try and close that gap back up. But I mean, just to mention that gap, it feels like just an instant ago that Cadiel was battling against Albertine, then Albertine became just a little dot in the distance, and suddenly one mistake from Cadiel and Albertine's car is back in the line of sight. So Cadiel needs to be careful of chasing down Jason now, doesn't want to make big mistakes, doesn't want to throw it all away, and I think that's what Jason's also doing up at the front, knowing that the Lexus will eat through tires, and he needs to just get as much out of this set before his pit stop comes.
So Cadiel took a bit too much curb coming out of Sunset, so he had side-on contact both sides of his car. Hopefully that's only a dent in the door and not some aero parts that went flying. But basically, I didn't see any direct nose or tail into the wall kind of shenanigans.
Well, he seemed really composed when he came out of it. It didn't seem like it affected him. Just like a little bit of scare electric, and off we go. And truly, it doesn't seem to have affected his car coming out of hell there. I mean, that was a fantastic exit he's had, and he's again pulling away from Franco Albertine.
Yeah, just a little speck in the distance as we go to that rear-facing camera. You see the lights of Franco Albertine coming around the corner now, and getting some decent distance between the two. We'll jump on board, a nice little onboard view. I love the little blue ambi lighting that ACC does inside the cockpit view. Obviously that's electable. Not every driver will be driving with that on, but it does help just break the distance of the darkness when you are going through some very dark sections.
Yeah, like I said, horrifyingly dark. If you look outside, like just past the driver's lights, it's nothing. It's just darkness. No lights up here.
Another shout out to the programmer who did the nighttime lighting in this game. It is gorgeous. Just a quick one. Stefan De Vet, he is slowly closing his gap on Stark Berta for 4th place. He's currently 0.3 of a second up on his own best time, and he's closed the gap to Berta. He's closed it by about a second, just coming onto the mountain. He's now coming down the mountain. He's now under a second. He could maybe have De Vet, sorry, not De Vet, Berta right in front of him by the start of the next lap.
Yeah, those lights just flickering, just indicating how dark it really is. I mean, you can't see what car it is until suddenly you can just make out that you've got a angry Audi and an angry Bentley roaring down that Conrad straight. I love the sound of the Audi as well. I mean, it's quite distinctive compared to the more muscly grunt that comes out of that Bentley. We don't get to see many Audis piloted around here as well, so when I say I like the sound of the Audi, it's nice to see a mixture of manufacturers in the series. You don't want to just see one or two cars being picked just in favor of the BOP. It's always nice to see a variety of cars. And right now, I mean, our top 5 is a Lexus, a Mercedes, a Aston Martin, an Audi, and a Bentley. So we do have that mixture that we wanted. And if we extend that to the top 7, we can throw a Porsche into there as well. So Manar leading Porsche. Of course, we've had Gray Ritchie retire. He completely murdered his Senna Racing Porsche and had to retire. And of course, poor Tebo Meloto, he's been trying to catch back up after not managing to ready up for the race. Currently, I see him sitting in the pits. He's done his pit stop. I think that would be his mandatory stop that he's coming in to do.
Yeah, maybe this is his undercut. He's choosing to pit a little bit early, put on some fresh tackies for this last run.
So let's talk. Sorry, Rich. Do you want to just talk a little bit about Cadhill here? I mean, he's dropped that gap down by a second already. He was 11 seconds on the prior lap that we looked at him. He's now 10 seconds behind Jason Absmeyer in first.
Jason has also been going through traffic, though. That's now 2 people Jason's lapped, which is what I think is costing him the time.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
Cadhill still has to get to those drivers. It's another 5 seconds up the road before he gets to Richards.
Eddie, I pose you another thing to consider. Cadhill has already navigated traffic getting to this position. He's already aware of where he can make moves on this track. Jason Absmeyer hasn't had to deal with anything. And now, with back markers, those are going to be the first time he's had to deal with cars. It's not going to be as easy for him to deal with. I think that back markers are going to favor Cadhill in this situation.
True, but on the mountain, it really comes down to where do you run into that back marker. You run into him coming up the mountain, you're screwed. You run into him coming onto Conrad Straight, you're okay.
It's okay, we're going to just call him Conrad. Conrad Straight. I like Conrad.
Conrad Straight.
Conrad for what? Conrad it is. Yeah, but Cadhill, he's come up to those back markers that you've talked about. He's dealt with one. He's got another
pass them
one.
Going down the mountain, which is not easy, even if they get blue flagged.
Well, I don't even think he's going to pass them coming down the mountain just yet. I mean, he's going to maybe have to deal with just one, but possibly going to time it to come out on the Conrad/Rad straight. The Rad Conrad straight is what we should call it.
I like that.
Let's just give it an Afrikaans name like Crankshaft.
That's not an Afrikaans name.
It is an Afrikaans name.
You only said only if you spelled crankshaft with just a K.
Like, what is the English for spare tire again?
Okay, so Kleb, has Kleb been into the pits? He has. So Kleb's been into the pits. He's gone for an early pit. He will be the next car for Cadhill to pass here. I don't think he's going to get it done at the end of the Rad Straight, but really going to have to try and get it done coming up the mountain straight. So really in a bit of a good position here for Cadhill. Hasn't had to deal with him up the mountain, hasn't had to deal with Kleb down the mountain. He's also a back marker that's not really a back marker pace. So he's holding down a position that he shouldn't be holding down only because he's got into the pits early. All of that will change up when the cars that are not on the same pace level go into the pits. They've elected to extend things a little bit, but we're coming up to the 35-minute mark now, so expect cars to pit within the next 5 or so minutes. That's kind of the standard that we see in 60-minute races. Go for the 50% strategy, use the tires, go change them up, and drive the second half on a fresh set of rubbers. No need to throw in fuel. A lot of these guys have probably fueled up from the start.
Jason has managed to put another back marker between him and Bruno before he got to the mountain.
Okay, so that's going to benefit Jason Absmeyer. He's going to get past Richards there before having to try and ascend the mountain. Bruno, of course, he's going to still have to deal with these things. He's got past Kleb, and now we'll have Richards up ahead still to deal with. If you look on the little track map on the top right of the screen, that red dot is Bruno Cadhill. The next dot would be Richards, and the dot just in front of that would be our race leader, Jason Absmeyer. So Cadhill really has closed down the gap. He's 8 seconds off of our race leader now. 33 minutes still to go. Both of these drivers still needing to do their mandatory stop, and the race could not be heating up in a better way.
We have very bad news for Mr. Kleb. Big impact through the coming down the mountain. He had a massive front end impact with the wall, so I'm pretty sure that's you can see it as well coming through Conrad Straight. He's just puttering. There's not much left in that Aston Martin.
Oh no, that is going to be very unfortunate for the one member of the AM2 race, boys.
He was running third at a stage.
He was. He had an early pit stop as well. There was a couple of, I think, the walls.
That early pit stop was because of the wall. You remember, you actually asked me keep an eye on him. That was most definitely a damage fix. He spent a little over 45 seconds just sitting there, and when he did get going...
Sorry to stop you. Caddy are going to go for the early pit stop here, as will Starkwater and Hendricks. They also gone into the pits, as has Paulo. So those pit stops starting to come in. Didn't expect Cadhill to be the early pitter, but this is obviously that potential undercut that Cadhill wants to pan out. And now the pressure will be on Absmeyer to see what he can get done. He doesn't have any back markers ahead of him to deal with, so an ideal place for him to have his sort of second place rival going into the pits. He doesn't have too much traffic to have to deal with that's going to slow him down, but I'm pretty sure now he's going to be thinking about when he wants to make this pit stop as well.
If I was him, if he's aware that Cadil pitted, I would just jump into the pits the next opportune point, get it done with. Your rival is already trying to undercut. You've got the upper hand, just pit.
Might as well.
So negate the undercut by going straight into the pits. You haven't had to deal with back markers, so when you come out, you hopefully aren't going to be in traffic.
Cadil has come out in 5th position. He's got J.K. Menard just ahead of him, but poor position. J.K. Menard, De Wet, Albertine haven't pitted yet, and that's 2nd, 3rd, 4th. So now Cadil's got to repass them all again if they don't pit in the next 2 or 3 laps.
Okay, so let's follow along with Bruno a little bit as he goes up the mountain. Let's go and see if he's going to go and get the move done on Manar in the next couple of corners. Obviously, we've seen, based on pace, that this gentleman has got the necessary means to get by the traffic in front of him. But of course, it's dark. Anything can happen. That Porsche definitely traveling downhill at a lot slower speed than this Mercedes of Bruno Cadil. So he's going to be looking to get a good exit to get onto the Conrad Straight and see if he can try and get the move done before the end of it. So right now, it's going to be Manar holding down at 4th place, still yet to pit. Bruno in 5th. Will need to pit, but we see that slipstream coming into action. He is going to pull alongside Manar before the corner. Side by side they'll go. Oh, cameraman, keep up with this. And he's got the move done. Very, very brave place to overtake, and not shock horror from Bruno to get the work done there. And he'll reclaim his 4th place. Manar stays out again for another lap, so it will be our 1st to 3rd places that have yet to pit, split by Bruno, who has pitted, and then Manar, who is yet to pit. So we'll drop out of position, but for now, enjoying lapping around in 5th place.
That's not going to help Bruno, though, coming through Mountain Straight. He had a big exit there. Definitely got 2 wheels on the kitty litter. That's gonna hurt him. Not that it's really hurting this Mercedes. I mean, look at the pace of this thing.
No, I mean, let's just talk about the gap that we mentioned before. So obviously we had Bruno Cadhill chasing down Jason Absmeyer for the lead. He had dropped things all the way sub 10 before jumping into the pits, and now, of course, has given himself quite a big split to the leader. We'll have to see what happens with Jason's pit stop when he elects to go in.
Jason
now
is not pitting this lap. He's staying out.
Well, I think, Eddie, it's a smart move because of the way that the Lexus eats through tires. You really do want to try and make sure that your last set, when you do change them out, is going to see you to the end of the race without falling off. So if you sacrifice a little bit on the first set, whilst everybody's been into the pits, you've got a little bit of free air out there. I think it's a good idea to try and just extend it a little bit.
Yeah, also, while the going is good, stay out. Use those tires until there's nothing left, because the last 15 minutes, 10 minutes of this race, I'm sure Jason knows he's going to have Bruno right behind him. So he would want to be on as fresh as tire as he can get. I keep forgetting that the Lexus eats through tires more than anything else.
Yeah, Lexus is hungry for rubber.
It is, and when it does start to fall off, it just becomes very, very slippery on ice, and that will be Stefan de Vet going to jump into the pits. So from third place, he will pit. Will be interesting to see where he comes out. Of course, holding down third place before going in. You will hear cars starting to go past.
That's Bruno already passed. He's coming through Hull Corner now. Coming up.
Getting himself onto the mountain straight. Albertine, he will pass as well. Sorry, Albertine's already gone past. He's yet to go into the pits. It will be JK Manar who will go into the pits. So that will be fifth place for Manar going in. Let's see where he comes out. Albertine and Absmeyer will be our only two drivers to stay out. Absmeyer currently 2/10 up on his best lap time, of course. His best lap at 2:02.793. So this could be potentially a 2:02.5. He has lost a 10th. He's still a 10th up though, so a 2:02.6, which is still off the pace of what Bruno has been doing on previous laps. So just bear that in mind, viewers and spectators, that although Jason leads this race, a faster Bruno Cadhill is out there, has done his mandatory pit stop as well, and is pretty much gearing up for a drive to the line at this stage.
Not to underestimate it though, catching up to Jason is one thing. Getting past Jason is a whole different ball game.
Yeah, that is very true.
100%, and
it will take somebody of Bruno's skills to pull it off. I hope he's got a well laid out plan come the time.
Yeah, not a lot of places at Mount Panorama to really get moves done, and of course a driver of these or both drivers with similar caliber, I think we are going to be set up for a really nice knife fight come the end of the race. But for now, Jason will lead things away. Currently 16 laps in, 26 minutes to go. Franco Albertine will go into the pits off screen. Let's go see if he's stopped. He has. So Franco Albertine will go into the pits. He will be the last of the cars other than our race leader to do so. So the order should still be pretty much in position.
We've got a fight for fifth busy brewing. Sean Lawrence on Etienne Kleb. They're just kind of coming over the mountain now. But Lawrence has been closing that gap to Kleb. He's got it now down to a second.
And this is, these are both teammates, both driving for Amateur Race. Am I correct in saying that? No, sorry. No. Lawrence drives for SS Motorsport.
Correct. Apologies.
Kleb drives for Amateur Race. So this is not a battle between teammates, battle between similar manufacturers. Lawrence is finding a lot of speed through the mountain section. Looks like Kleb may be struggling a little bit through there. We do know that once you have sent your car into the pits to get repaired, it never comes quite back like it was made out of the factory. It still has little kinks and weird little things that aren't quite 100% repaired, which makes sense.
Also,
you can't just repair a whole GT3 car in 1.4 minutes.
Once you've smacked the walls a couple of times, even the driver doesn't really come out the pits the same anymore.
Well, Lawrence is trying to have a look where he can on Kleb. They are going to go over the start-finish line, 2 car lengths apart. In fact, it looked like Lawrence had closed things down a little bit more, but really does seem to have the legs towards the end of the straights as well on Kleb. I don't think Kleb quite has the same confidence throwing that car into the fast right-hander as what Lawrence did, and that allowed him to close the gap back down. But here, you would expect Lawrence to be closing down that gap between them at the end of the straight, but Kleb's done a good job to get a good exit previously and just hold him off for a little bit longer.
Lawrence definitely showing. Yeah, sorry, Eddie.
Now it's just a question, can Kleb keep his composure going up the mountain? It's easy enough to try and block somebody, but in blocking, you can just ruin a corner and hit a wall and ruin your entire race.
Yeah, there's a couple of sections of this track here coming up where you just want to defend your line more than anything. If you do that, your rival won't be able to stick it at the same speeds going through. But we see Kleb getting a little bit squiggly onto the grass before they go through Skyline to start their descent now. And this is where Lawrence needs to make sure he hangs on to the back of Kleb. Let's jump onto the rear view view from Kleb's wing as we watch Lawrence attack him. His headlights kind of blocked out by the wing from Kleb, but we can
Lawrence
just see
has had a good exit onto the Conrad crankshaft.
he has had a good exit, but it's not good enough, I feel. He's not going to be able to wind Kleb in enough here to be able to get anything done. But just look how much speed Kleb seems to lose coming through here. I'm not quite sure it is. And you just see how Lawrence closes that gap back down. So as you said, Absmeyer goes into the pits. And it will be interesting to see where he comes out. I'm going to still follow this battle between Lawrence and Kleb. Because coming down again, looks like Lawrence going to try for a cheeky little late entry into the corner and get a nice early exit. But not quite enough to get the move done on Etienne Kleb just yet. We know how hard it is to pass Etienne Kleb on a good day. And right now it's going to be up to Kleb to just hold off on Lawrence as hard as he can.
Tell you guys one thing, Cadiel might be able to take the lead here. Jason just coming out of the pits now, Cadiel just over the start-finish line. Going into the first corner, he's going to be literally split with a Porsche between him and Jason Absmeyer.
Well, Jason is not going to have the speed off of this exit to really get past onto Cadiel. Cadiel, he wants to get by on onto Manar here. He does. He knows he does not want to get in the way, and this is going to be the battle for first and second. We thought it would only be at the later phases of the race, but at 21 minutes in, it looks like Bruno Cadiel's undercut theory has paid dividends, and he's come out right on the tail of the leader.
It's a 2-second gap from what... I mean, when Bruno took second place, it was 11 seconds?
No, you got it down to 8.9, I think, somewhere around there. So he has done phenomenally well to go into the pits early. And now Jason is going to have to fight. Just remember, Jason's probably changed tires after that pit stop and is still trying to get those things up to temperature. Bruno, on the other hand, he's been lapping for the last couple of laps, and he's going to be up to temperature and ready to go. So just bear that in mind as they begin this attack-defense maneuver. And within the next couple of corners, I see that things are going... I foresee things are going to heat up.
Very, very quickly as well. Like you said, knife fighter brewing. Definitely a knife fighter brewing on the mountain here.
It's getting hard to follow the cars and their liveries. I'm going to put driver names on so that it's easier for people to identify cars. It is dark, and there are lots of light sprites coming off from the beautiful developers of Kunos in
Further
these
down,
webcams.
they've still managed to keep Sean Lawrence at bay. The gap is still about the same size, but Lawrence still stuck in 6th. Kleb still doing a good job for 5th.
I mean, they have managed to make... Yeah, sorry, they've managed to make their way past the back markers, so I think their job's done. They can continue to stab at each other as well as they come up the mountain here.
Yeah, I was going to also just touch on the fact that quite a lot of our race leaders, Bruno Cadiel and Jason Absmeyer, are on their 19th lap at the moment. A couple of drivers still on their 18th laps, going to go over to 19. A couple of drivers on 17 laps. Diego Paulo down on 16 laps. So just the difference in pace coming out here this evening really gets kind of not abused, but it gets highlighted more over an hour-long race session, you can really start to see who's here to, really take things seriously and who's just kind of lapping around, having a good time out there, but not maintaining that same sort of pace or getting as close to the quali pace as some of these guys that are obviously pushing up at the front. And we can see right now Jason is trying to push. He was a 10th up on his time. He's now gone down 5/10 as Bruno Cadhill just closes in, and that gap is getting smaller and smaller. If it's not on the leaderboard, it is definitely a visual distance being reduced right now. Cadhill and Absmeyer pretty much exiting the corners at the same time as the cameramen can track on Jason's cars, and that's just going to show us that the fight is coming, boys. It is going to happen here at the mountain. Jason Absmeyer to defend against Bruno Cadhill, and what a drive it's been from Bruno.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Look, Jason's only got 18 minutes to try and defend with, so easy stuff, I guess.
On a track like this, that's so narrow. I think if he makes that Lexus as big as possible, I think he can. I've got faith that Jason can hold off here.
So I just want to jump down to Kleb and Lawrence. So that's still the battle for 5th and 6th. It still looks like Kleb is holding Lawrence off at this point in time. Every time we look over here, it feels like they do get their deltas down. But it still will be Lawrence to hold off. Oh, this could be the move for Lawrence. Lawrence going to go side by side as they start their uphill ascent. But it looks like Kleb is going to snatch the late racing line back. Lawrence doing the smart thing and electing to rather tuck back in rather than trying to go side by side. If you're on the outside here where you need to be on the inside, it will be a wall for you. But a great bit of driving coming out from both these drivers, continuing to knife fight it out for 5th and 6th position. Looking down the order, we've got Manar in 7th. Currently doesn't have too much happening around him, a bit of fresh air. Hopefully for him, gonna benefit him. It has so far. His best lap was set on his last lap at 205.253. So great bit of driving coming out from Manar, holding it down 7th. Stark Buerta in that Audi, he seems to have lost out a little bit here. We saw him doing great things early on. Currently holding down 8th and a little bit off the pace. On his last lap, lost 3 seconds to his previous best lap time. Noah Hendricks, he's doing okay, down in 9th. He's got Vivian Richards behind him. That will be the battle for position. Let's see, Hendricks does have...
Sean Lawrence is making his move for 5th. He's alongside Kleb. Oh no, big contact. Big contact.
Very big contact.
If you jump back 10 seconds, you'll see it.
Okay, they're going side by side. Oh, and they've driven... I see... Oh, Lawrence has lost it. Kleb saved it, but Lawrence, a big loser out there and going to rejoin back on track. We see our race leader, Jason Absmeyer, coming through. He's got Bruno Cadhill just behind, also going to want to get through this traffic. Lawrence's car not looking quite so happy. It looks pretty damaged. He's going to just dive off onto the side of the track to allow Bruno to come through. But that might benefit Jason here a little bit. He's got a couple of back markers between him. I say a couple, it's only Richards at this point. And Cadhill, he's still trying to make moves, getting past these back markers to try and get his shot at Jason Absmeyer. But every minute counts and every minute delays Jason having to defend. And that is what Jason is going to want. Cadhill wants to close it down. He wants to get things started. But Jason doing a great job at the moment. He seems to be finding himself in just the most advantageous positions whenever Cadhill looks like he's reeling him in.
Yeah, it's going to hurt. Stuck behind Noah Hendricks here coming up the mountain. Or making the move, putting it past him. Brilliantly done. That was a fantastic little pass there on that back marker. You see what
so
I mean?
Cadhill here, he wants to pass on Hendricks. Hendricks going to touch the brakes to allow Cadhill through. Great bit of driving from Hendricks. Nice bit of respect, allowing the battle to continue up front. But you just see how those back markers spread out that gap. If we go and follow on Jason Absmeyer's camera here, on that same corner exit, you see how much later Cadhill has come out. And that is just the beauty of racing, the beauty of mixed car speeds out on track. Different guys doing different things, fighting for different positions all the time. and that's just given a little bit of padding to Jason up front.
You kind of get the feeling that it carries on like this. Bruno might just be shouting at not so much the back markers, but when he ran into them. He's what is his gap now? It's just over 2 seconds, and it was much closer a lap or so ago.
Yeah.
I'm actually not sure that my my standings here are up to date based on the previous standings that I showed. So the scroll at the bottom, I might have messed up and used the I might have used the standings previously. So I do apologize for that if that bottom scroll is not 100% up to date. We do know that Bruno does lead things away at the moment in the championship. Jason's second. I thought that Kleb was third based on the screenshot that I'd showed earlier, so I'm not quite sure why.
So there's a little battle building here. JK Minnar on Sean Lawrence.
Let's go
I think Lawrence
switch over
with
to
some
that.
damage, and JK Porsche seems to be running straight as an arrow.
Let's go get a little bit of cockpit footage from the Porsche here. So JK Minnar chasing down Lawrence at the moment as they go up the hill. Nice little part of the track here as Minnar not quite as comfortable as we saw. Oh, Lawrence, he's at a big off. He's hit the wall. He's slowing back down. I think he's going to give this position away to Minnar. The freebie coming out, and Lawrence does even more damage to that AMR. Not what he wants to have happen at this stage of the race. 12 minutes left to go, and definitely not going to be an ideal situation for that Aston Martin.
You know, McPhinney Park over there, you know, may have a little bit of a runoff, but that runoff sometimes just spits you right back across into that cement barrier that stops you from, you know, driving off the end of the mountain. So as much as, you know, people think, oh, it's great, there's a bit of runoff there, that runoff can really, really, really hurt you sometimes.
So just news from the front. Jason puts in a 2-minute 1.8 in answer to Cadill's 2-minute 1.9.
Yeah, so a 10th quicker, just to get the fastest lap of the race so far from Absmeyer, and does manage to extend the lead between the timing boards. Had a 2.5 second lead and now made a 2.7 second lead. Obviously that does update. We just get to see it on the timing sheet when they pass through the sectors. We do get a live feed view as well, but it's always nice to see what the official gap is when they go through two different timing zones. So down the order, I think JK Minnar is
lapping
next.
people.
He's lapping
he's
people.
lapping.
Richards.
Next up is Noor Hendricks, who just graces the wall a bit there. But yeah, Minnar safely passed. He's got Kleb 10 seconds up the road from him.
I mean, a great drive coming out from JK here. Finds himself in a 6th position.
He could still catch Kleb. I mean, Kleb's last lap was a 2:11 and Minnar is sitting at a 2:7.
Yeah, I mean, we don't quite know what the situation with Kleb's car is. We saw he did have that contact with Lawrence, obviously, through that fast right-hander. He might have picked up a little bit of error at that speed as well. And that could play into Minar's hands. Like you said, the 2:11 being done from Kleb on the previous lap, 2:07s from Minnar. So Minnar seems to have dialed in that Porsche. We saw he was struggling with it through the practice sessions, through a couple of the fast right left-handers. But seems to have dialed it in, got it feeling more comfortable, and currently really doing good work out at Bathurst. Finds himself in 6th place. Jumping up, I want to go and retrack through what's happening with our race leader, Jason Absmeyer. Looked like he got a bit of a messy exit before the start-finish straight there. And that may have closed down the gap by just a 10th. We say just a 10th, but a 10th
I'd say
is
2
everything.
Their lap times were literally 1/10 apart on that last lap.
Yeah, 1/10 apart.
Yeah, 2-minute 1.9 and a 2-minute 1.8. I mean, how are these guys pulling out 2-minute ones at the end of a race like this. It feels unfair.
It does feel unfair, and especially the fact that it's now utterly dark. Let's try and see if we can get an onboard view with Absmeyer here as he goes up the mountain.
There's just something about this game in the dark. The way the headlights fall upon the yonder horizon.
No, it really does some great things, and how it like lights up around corners, and as you like come around, it opens up the lighting zones. But I mean, it is dark. Skyline here is pretty much pitch blackness. Jason is trying his best to keep his Lexus under control.
There.
It is a bit messy, and if Cadiel does better through there, let's just follow along on Cadiel
up already. He's a second up on Absmeyer coming out of the mountain. He's chopped it from 2.7 down to 1.6, give or take.
Let's see if our helicopter cam can show what our gap is like at the moment. I don't think we'll get both of them on. We will get both of them on track.
Tickle.
We get just the tickle as they come down the end of the Conrad Strait. Cadiel and Absmeyer going to continue to give us a show. 7 minutes 50 on the race clock here, with guys doing 2-minute lap times. Let's call it 3 and a bit laps.
4 laps. 4 laps if we're lucky.
4 laps if we're lucky before the end of round 7. Currently, Jason holds off on Bruno Cadiel. Absmeyer needs a victory now over Cadiel most desperately. Of course, the second place for Cadiel will just be phenomenal for his championship, but Jason needs a race win.
Bruno leads the league at this point by 98 points?
That was never my strongest points, but he currently has 263 points.
Yeah, can confirm
on
it's 98 points.
Okay, so we did some quick maths on the fly.
Thank you, Eddie.
Only my tandem pleasure.
So Cadiel and Jason will fight it out regardless of what they have on the leaderboard. It doesn't matter. Every race is a new race, and every race counts. And it feels like that gap is just getting smaller and smaller. We've had confirmation from the official timing sheets that gap in fact has dropped to 1.3 seconds, and it is going to continue to close down if Jason does not find his rhythm through the mountain section, and he needs to find it fast, because soon it's going to be needing to find rhythm with pressure right on the rear end of that Lexus.
Well, I think the Mercedes of Bruno's is showing some serious pace, because he's had an answer to Jason Absmeyer's fastest 201.668. I think he's just he's really just turning the screw now, actually. He's just absolutely flat out making sure he's at maximum attack for these last 6 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Jason at least still holds down the fastest lap time, but it really depends on how consistently they can start to deliver these things. And I mean, time after time after time, Bruno's improved his lap time. Jason's dead on with his current best lap time ever. Let's see what he does when he crosses the line. It will be consistency. So he does a 201.989. Bruno does a 202.172. So Jason's still just holding off with that advantage, and this is where it really separates these kind of drivers. You have to look at those split-second differences to really find who's actually coming out on top at this point. I mean, it's not something that's visually easy to see. You have to just look at the finite details to really see, these guys are doing insanely quick lap times, time after time. Currently, Jason's now 2 tenths up on his previous best as he starts his ascent up the mountain. So this is a good start coming out from Absmeyer. He's going to come into traffic, who gets out the way. Paolo, good job from him, not getting in the way of Jason. And he will have Bruno shortly coming through. There goes Bruno through. We see the gap being indicated on the timing sheet back up to a 2.3 second lead for Absmeyer here. So with 4 minutes left to go, seems to be holding off Cadiel, but how will he hold on?
Another little race brewing in the background for 9th and 10th. Noah Hendricks being chased down by Vivian Richards. Viv has got that gap down to about 1.5 seconds. It was up in the 3 seconds like 2 laps ago.
Yeah, so those last couple of laps are going to be very important all the way down to positions like 9 and 10. Still fighting out for those additional points.
So, gents,
Yes?
sorry, just a quick one. Bruno having a shocking exit coming onto Conrad Straight, touched the wall on the final corner, has dropped down to 3.2 seconds now, the gap. So if Jason Absmeyer can keep this up, I think he'll have what it takes.
3 minutes 48 left on the race clock here for our drivers at Bathurst for round 7 of the Dominus Gaming GT3 ACC World Challenge, and it could not be closer considering these two drivers started this race literally separated by every other car on the grid, and right now the only thing that separates them is a little bit of air, which is probably quite turbulent as Jason's Lexus roars down the mountain straight. Once again, Cadiel will not have the slipstream advantage here as he has on previous laps. Like my co-caster Richard has pointed out, very important for Absmeyer now to just keep his head down, keep focused, and not make any critical mistakes. We saw Cadiel had an error coming out before Conrad, and that caused him to drop a second back. So anything could happen between these drivers up at the front as we get to 2 minutes 50 on the clock.
I'm going to try do some quick thinking here. I think we might squeeze more laps after the one we're on now. No. It'll be this lap and another.
It will be this lap plus one more.
Well, that race you were talking about, Eddie, has formed. A train of Hendricks, Richards, and a whole number of other cars. Looks like Albertane's in the mix there, as well as Lawrence.
Oh, that's Albertine lapping Richards. Richards was ahead of Noor Hendricks the last time I looked at them, and then he lost the position again.
So you guys can carry on watching the battle down on that side. I'm going to track along with Jason to just follow through with these last 2 minutes. I mean, anything could happen at this point in the race, and I just want to make sure that we don't miss any of the action between our front two runners. I mean, Cadiel, he's dropped down to 5 seconds behind Absmeyer now, with a minute and 45 seconds on the clock. Absmeyer is doing what he needs to do to get things done. Cadiel, he's going to want to be chasing our leader. We've got confirmation that he is on his final lap now. 1 minute 30 on the clock. Final lap here at Bathurst. Cadiel very slow coming around that corner to show that gap has extended here for Jason Absmeyer. I feel like he's got things done.
Yeah, I'm also going to hazard a guess that I think Bruno's picked up a little bit of damage there. You know, he had a little bit of touch on the front end, and maybe that's just done enough to slow him down to give Jason what he needs.
If you guys had to choose for driver of the day between Cadiel and Absmeyer, where would you put your money?
I'm putting my money on Absmeyer here, no bias, but just good drive from him, good quali, good race, has kept his head down, hasn't had the errors. Bruno, of course, tip of the hat to him, but had to start where he started based on, unfortunate circumstances.
I just saw that, Bruno also scratched out an even fastest lap at 2 minute 1:4:16.
No, that's Jason's. That's Jason.
Yeah, sorry, Jason. Yeah, sorry, Jason.
No, Jason is here, and he's here to party. So I think this is going to be a race victory going Jason's way. Let me set up for a finishing camera angle here of Jason Absmeyer. Let me just here we go. You can get a nice little glinting nighttime shot of Jason's Lexus here as he comes around to the end of the Conrad Straight for the final time. Great drive coming out from the number 90 Jason Absmeyer here.
Yeah.
Bathurst is first Bathurst win for the Dominus Gaming League. We've never raced at Bathurst, so a first victory for Jason Absmeyer. Flashes lights as he crosses the checkered line. First place for Jason Absmeyer there, and a great victory coming his way. Let me try and see if we can jump to...
just cross the line himself. The next car still running, I think, is Albertine? No, yeah. Albertine seems to be the next in the the pack of the champions.
He's
Yeah,
just
so it
left
looks
Forest
like-
corner now, though.
Albertane will be third position here. Let's see if we can just get a better camera angle. We can't. I've broken it.
I know.
I've broken it.
Yep.
Okay, so it will be Albertane for third place. It looks like De Wet, I mean, we can confirm Kleb and Manar for 5th and 6th. But Albertane will go around Al's corner for the final turn.
De Wet's got no one close to him. Kleb's already finished his race, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, so that would be Absmeyer, Cadiel, Albertine, De Wet, Kleb, Minnar, Lawrence, Buerta, Hendricks, Richards, and then Paulo, Moloto, Hubert.
That's it. I mean, that's it.
it.
So, I don't know if we... Let's see if we can get Jason... I don't know if we can get Jason in here for an interview. I forgot to actually mention that in my driver briefing. I meant to tell the guys that I wanted to have interviews here. So let's see if I can just get Jason. Don't know. I can get him here. Can one of you just try and message Jason? See if we can get him
cool.
in here.
I'll have a look.
Just pop him a message. See if we can have a little chat ski with him. We can obviously just pull him into the Dominus Discord.
What a race, eh? Like
Phenomenal race.
It was probably one
Yeah.
of the best ones we've had, even though it was in the dark and hard to see.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to take my top race so far of this season. I really enjoyed the nighttime transition as well, the starting in the sunset. That was great. Jason Absmeyer, are we going to be able to get him in here?
Busy
Let's
waiting for him to
see.
reply.
Let's see if we can get him in and just have a little chat. Because that will be quite nice to just hear how his race went. Let's see what we can do. So thanks to everybody for watching. Of course, if you guys are wanting to watch more racing, we'll be back. Same platforms everywhere from next week, Wednesday. We'll go over to round 8, which is where do we go to round 8? Do you guys know after this? Round 8 would be Spa, I think. Spa midday
That'll be
in the
such
clear.
a good race.
Spa is gonna.
Can confirm it's Spa, then Nürburgring, Laguna Seca, Hungaroring, Catalunya, Kyalami is our remaining races. Spa is going to be good though. Such a great race.
So let's actually get the interviews set up for next week. I know I keep saying this, but let's make a note. Gareth, please also just make a note in our stream. Drivers can be available if they want to for a little interview, and people that don't win or place can also come up and have a little
George.
say. So yeah.
If you can move Jason, he's ready to be
Okay, we
have
can
a
do
quick
it.
chat too.
Okay, we can do it. Let me move Jason here. There's Jason here. Let me unmute myself. Jason? Oh, Jason probably doesn't have the ability to talk here. Let me go to...
He's saying TeamSpeak.
Yeah, tell him to come... Tell him to come to TeamSpeak. Please just send him the new details. Obviously, that's where he needs to come. If he can come to TeamSpeak, then that's perfect. If he can come to TeamSpeak, then that's even better. So we get to have our interview with Jason Absmeyer, obviously our race winner. Just give us a second here, guys.
Oh, he should be joining us shortly.
Just having a quick read here through the Twitch chat. It was quite busy, and we missed a lot of funny business in there.
Did we?
No, good
Good
conversation.
things. Okay, here's
Good,
Jason.
good engagement.
User was moved
Okay,
to your
so
channel.
I've brought Jason into our broadcasting channel. Jason Absmeyer, obviously our winner for this evening, our first driver interview on the Dominus Gaming streams as well. We've always forgotten or not been able or had a rush to get things done. So welcome, Jason.
Evening. How are you guys doing?
Good.
We're good. We want to know how you're feeling after that one.
Tired, very, very tired, hot. But yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. A lot
Stellar
of
drive,
fun.
though.
So what
you.
we were wondering was, were you keeping your eye on the deltas and the splits and seeing Bruno closing in on you?
I did. Yeah, before he pitted, I saw it was like 9 seconds behind me. And then when I went to pit and came out, it was like 2 seconds. Like, oh crap, here we go. This is going to be fun. But yeah, he made good ground from behind. So well done to him.
Yeah. So sorry, we picked up a little bit of echo coming in from Eddie's mic there, but I heard most of what you said, Jay. And what I found quite interesting was that you did quite a late pit there as well. Do you have any sort of insights as to what your strategy was going into that late pit? What you were kind of thinking, or was that kind of a regular pit stop? You had always planned it to be that kind of position for the race.
I won't call it a strategy. What I tend to do is see where I am, what position I am, how far the car behind me is, delta wise, and then I make a split decision when to pit. And yeah, so it's just on the fly. It's not a thing of, okay, I'm going to pit after 30 minutes or 32 minutes.
Okay, so you kind of just try and see where things stand before you make that decision. I think that's a call that's pretty dynamic. A lot of people come into things knowing I'm doing 30 minutes, then I'm pitting, and I have this amount of fuel, or they don't always read things on the fly. So I don't want to keep everybody here for too long. Jason, thanks so much for coming and joining us for our first race winner interview. It's only 7 rounds into the series, and we've only just got a driver in here. But we will continue to do this. I'd like to get the top 3 in here from next week and have a little discussion on things there. From my side, guys, thank you so much for joining. My name is G-Max. I'll be back here next week. I've been joined by my co-casters Angelus ZA and Spandex Cobra. You can follow them on Twitter if you would like to, at Spandex Cobra and at Angelus ZA. You can also follow Dominus at Dominus Gaming SA. DominusGaming.com is the website to find where all the action happens. We've got a Monday Night Racing Discord for casual racing enthusiasts that want to get a taste of the racing. Just join our Monday Night Racing Discord. We've also got a Dominus Gaming Discord for all things more serious with all the different game titles that we do. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at ZA_GMax. If you want to follow Jason, you've also got a Twitter link as well, don't you?
I do, yes. It's just Jason A Online.
Jason A Online on the Twitterverse if you want to follow our race winner. He posts some good tweets as well. I follow all of our racing drivers, and I encourage all our drivers out here to go and make themselves some Twitter profiles. I'd love to share you and tag you in some of the tweets that we do going forward. So if you do, hit me up with your links. We'll make sure to share it. Guys, from me, that's all. Say goodbye. Richard, don't plug all of your stuff while I try and turn off the stream.
No, I'm good. I'll just sit here with my hands.